Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Safa's Unscripted Band Still Together, episode 125, as Casual likes to name them one by one. But yeah, we've actually been pretty consistent with the three of us being here, so we're enjoying that. Life isn't taking over too bad. But yeah, obviously no international rugby this weekend. We saw in the comments people were like, why aren't you talking about the Curry Cup? It's unfortunate, in my opinion. I just think SA Rugby has made the Curry Cup kind of...
I didn't even know the Curry Cup was on.
No, okay, we all knew the Curry Cup was on, but it's like...
Brevan, you're the
shine
voice.
isn't there anymore, you know?
My team doesn't play in the Curry Cup.
Oh, mine does, but I think we're going to get thumped. So anyways, we'll see what happens on the weekend. Anyways, boys, good topic today, but before we get into the topic, how are we all doing? We're excited for this little... current best players in the world that we've kind of all put our own names forward.
This is either going to be one of those things where we agree a lot, or it will get heated once again. And I'm looking at Brett. Like what I'm saying, I'm just what?
It's gonna get heated. In the last 48 hours, I think I have about 3 hours of sleep in. So everyone around me says I need to just go away because I'm extremely grumpy. So maybe this will cheer me up.
Hopefully. You hope.
Yeah, so obviously, guys, we first remember to please like, share, subscribe. We've seen like a bit of a boost in growth recently, which has been awesome. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for supporting the videos. Whether you agree with us, disagree with us, honestly, that doesn't bother us because, as you all know, this is a fan channel for opinion. And this is the perfect video for opinion because, like I said, we are doing the current top 5 players in the world, obviously our own opinions on form. So it's not like you can't put Jamison Gibson Park or Jameson Gibson Park, however you pronounce the name, sorry if it's wrong, in the top 5 because he's been injured for a while, that type of thing. So it's currently on form.
It's like as current as currently gets, but obviously the Northern Hemisphere hasn't played, right? Until the tours. So we are kind of giving them a bit more room, like we're taking the full year kind of into it.
Yeah.
So you go, I'm not.
So boys,
Boring.
we'll start with our obviously 5th position. This one, it was probably my toughest decision because I generally couldn't know who to give this position to, but we'll start with Casual on the left there. Who have you gone
I'm
with?
going wild. I'm starting wild, right? I'm going super recent, and it's kind of, I don't know if I'm saying it's just like a charity spot, but I want to give this guy the flowers because we always talk about Malcolm Marx, Dan Sheehan being the best hookers in the world. There was a guy that has been causing havoc for the past couple of months now, and people will say it's just one game. It's not just one game. Look at this guy. He's been crazy the past couple of months. I'm going Cody Taylor. Like, obviously, he's not in the best in the world, like, in the modern era or anything. But if we're going current, he's been so good. And I'm giving him his flowers. Cody Taylor takes my number 2 jersey. I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll tell you why. What do you think about Cody Taylor as my number 5?
I just want to know. I want to know, firstly, so this last game that they played, obviously, I want to know how he passed the concussion test. That's one thing I'm flabbergasted that he actually passed that concussion test. And then secondly, when Malcolm Marx came onto the field, he showed Cody Taylor what it is like to be a real hooker. So I'm very surprised by your call, but it's your call. So I'll gracefully respect it.
Brett, I fully get what you say. Malcolm Marx is 10 times the player that Cody Taylor is. 10 times. Okay, I'm not debating that. I'm not saying Cody Taylor is better than Malcolm Marx, right? But Cody Taylor's got a lot of competition. Obviously, Samasoni Takiao, he's out, right? But the fact that Asafu Amua has been sensational in the Super Rugby, and he doesn't even get a sniff, not even a sniff with Cody Taylor on the field. obviously Cody Taylor's going to drop off in that second half when Malcolm Marx comes on. Malcolm Marx looks back to his best, right? If Malcolm Marx played the way that he played last weekend, and he's been playing for that for quite a while, he walks into this. He walks because he's one of the best players ever, right? But I just want to give Cody Taylor his flowers. As I said, it might be a bit of a charity thing, but I think he's been sensational in these last couple of months. And therefore, I'm saying, especially when there's been so much doubt around him and the fact that he's playing 70 minutes, right? And you're not even replacing the guy, just tells you the impact that he's had. And it kind of reminds me the impact that he's had on this All Blacks team is like that Ari Savea, where he stood out so much when the All Blacks were struggling a few years ago. What was it, 2 years ago? That's exactly what Cody Taylor's doing currently. So I'm just giving him flowers for that. So I don't think it's that wild.
So yeah, I was asking the boys to throw me some names before we started this pod, just so that I could hear, and if it was like, okay, I could deal with that. So obviously names like Jesse Creel were there, Evan Etzebeth were there, and so on and so forth. There were some Argentinian
You don't have
players.
Evan Etzebeth in your top 5?
No, I don't. Sounds crazy, but I don't. But I went with the guy from the Northern Hemisphere. I'm going to give him his flowers. I think he's one of the better players in his team at the moment. So I'm going to go with Ben Earl from England. I think he's just a phenomenal player. Literally, the guy is the perfect sixth flank. Well, obviously, seventh flank in over there, but sixth flank to us. And just, I think he's the energy he brings, the amount of turnovers he makes, the carrying he makes. And, you could shake your head casual, but it's pretty much the same as blasphemy call as your Cody Taylor call. But I'm going to give him his credit. And you got to give some Northern Hemisphere people some credit. So, yeah, Ben Earl, number 5 for me. So, yeah, that's my number 5. But let the knowledge of this podcast tell us his number 5.
Okay, so
is this my turn?
Yes. Okay, but I'm a big Ben Earl fan. I prefer your call than that call because I don't even think Cody Taylor's the best hooker, let alone a top 5 player. So that's yes, he did play well. He probably had his best game in an All Blacks jersey that I've ever seen him play at that Cape Town test. I'll hand him that. But I just felt that as a hooker, when Marx came onto the field, Marx just in 20 minutes was better than Cody Taylor was. So that's why he wouldn't be in my top 5. Ben Earl is also not in my top 5 because he didn't have the best Six Nations, although he's one of my favorite players, especially coming from England. That's just ridiculous. But mine's a little bit more ridiculous than anybody else's. In a team that's absolutely nowhere, he's the standout player in Australia, Rob Valentini.
I like it. I actually respect the Rob Valentini call. I think the Ben Earl call is absolutely a travesty. It's ridiculous.
But let's be honest, right?
Ben Earl was sensational, right? Until the World Cup finished, right? Until the World Cup finished, and then he's been absolutely dog shit. If you wanted to pick a player from England, Sam Underhill. Sam Underhill, definitely. He's been sensational since he's come back into that team. Ben Earl has been bum fluff. Ben Earl's a great player, but currently he's trash at the moment. Rob Valentini, on the other hand, I like it. I like that call because they've been shaky, but he's also been a standout player. He's got that Cody Taylor effect at the moment. I like it. I respect it. He would be my number 6.
Yeah, look, the only reason I can't consider any Australian player is just because, guys, it's a mess down there. Obviously, there are players that still stand out, but maybe it's just that easy to stand out in such a mess, So, but yeah, no, I've been saying it as well. Rob Valentini is a good player, and I think he's a good ball carrier. He's a good, he does his job as a flanker. He's all over the place, so you got to give him some credit. And like I said, I'm not going to be mad at that call at all because he's a guy that sticks his hand up in a place that's a mess, which is you can only respect. So.
Boys, yeah, if we had to be honest, right, our number 5 spot were all just charity cases, okay? Like, if we had to pick the 5th best player in the world, we'd probably go with another South African. But we don't want to seem biased, right? It's one of those things, right? Because the fact because I'll just spoil the party. I don't have Ibn Etzebet either. Ibn Etzebet is definitely going to be there. I don't have. Okay, wait. Let me not give away my whole list. But there's a big names that I don't have there that would easily walk in, right? But I had to give that 5 spot away. But from here on, no more charity spots. Okay, the rest is all valid.
I'm exactly the same in that regard. When we discussed we must make a top 5 team, I had 5 South Africans in. Like I'm struggling. I'm honestly like trying to be as unbiased as I can. I'm struggling to see what positions currently people are single-handedly better than the South Africans in this team that I took. And then I obviously took guys out for the reason that you just mentioned. And I don't know, people can hate or whatever they want, but there's a reason that South Africa is that good currently. South Africa, this is the best I've seen South Africa. This era is the best I've seen South Africa in my entire life. So yeah. I'm struggling to find 5 non-South Africans. But anyway, carry on.
For me, on the other hand, like it was easy for me to have at least 2 other guys in there that I felt deserved to be in there. But there's a couple of Saffas that I feel like so hard done by. They've been hard done by. I'll say it at the end because I don't want to spoil it.
Well, I'll say simple ones for me: Malcolm Marx, Ibn Etzebet, Jesse Kriel.
Jesse Kriel is my main one. Yeah.
Currently
on form. Do not have him.
You could Oxenshare.
Ox.
These are oaks that are sticking their hand up week in, week out constantly. So, like I said, they easily could walk into a top 5 in the world currently. I'm not saying they're the best in the world.
Like very good. If you pick a team right now, dude, Orcs walks in. Orcs walks in. Kriel walks in. Like there's no doubt about it. But anyway, let's go to 4. We'll go to Brett first.
Okay, yeah. My 4, I was so caught in, like, do I name this guy my favorite player or do I name that guy? I went with a player that's probably been the unsung hero for the last 8 years. People have been calling for him to be dropped. Whatever, I don't care. I went for Damien D'Alenda.
It's not a bad shot.
How did I not? I didn't even think of Damien.
He's not.
Oh my word!
Like, there's another honorable mention in my case. Like
mine too, obviously now. I didn't even think of Damien D'Alenda. Oh my goodness, he's been so good. He's been sensational. Oh, Brett, I love that show. Would you have ranked him higher if you weren't tried not to be biased?
No, because you'll see what I mean with my top 3.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so I think me and Casual might have the same 4 here because I saw his video on the other platform.
But I've switched my order.
You switched? Oh wow. Okay.
No. I've switched my order, but I've.
Okay. Well, anyways, at 4 I went with Kalen Doris. I think he's done a phenomenal job. Obviously, now stepping into, of course, we have the Irish, the guy that looks for the Irish slander every episode. We love it. That's why we're here. It's just banter. Just remember, people, relax. I went with Kalen Doris because I just think the guy, obviously coming into a captaincy role now with the Irish, obviously now just been named as Leinster captain as well. And probably the standout player when he came here in South Africa as well. Obviously, many people don't like what he did to Malcolm Marx, but other than that, obviously still such a great player. I think he's such a big part of that Irish team, Without Doris, I feel like they kind of lack something, and that's just another case why I think he should be top 5. So I
fully agree with you, Brevan. Like, obviously, he wasn't even the main culprit with the Malcolm Marx thing. So, Kalen Doris was sensational when he came down here. Like, whether you like him or not, he was so good. He was absolutely brilliant. He was a standout player for the Irish team that looked pretty good, right? And I don't think they come close in that second game, especially the way that they performed in the first half of the second game. Like, he was just outstanding. He felt like an unplayable player. He gave me that Peter Steph vibes. He was just a workhorse all around the field. He's been doing it for years. He's a massive part in that Leinster squad as well, taking over the captaincy. I'm not a big fan of him being captain. Same boat as Ibn Etzebet, Ori Savaya. Don't give them captaincy. Just let them go out and play their game. So with the Irish that always beat us and literally being such a good team, for him to also be a standout player in that, like people talk about Bundiaki and stuff, I don't see that. I see Caelan Doris. I think he's a special player for them. Without him, they don't function like they do. So I'm going Caelan Doris in that 4. Especially with him being compared to Adi Savaya and stuff, I just think he's taken his game to a new level this year specifically as well. I think it's a valid shout to have Caelan Doris in that 4 jersey, because I also got people that talked about him being even higher, right? I don't agree with that necessarily.
No, not currently.
Yeah, so my number 4 bounced your number 4, so I'm okay with my call.
Okay,
who's your number 4?
Who bounced Doris?
Damien Dalenda.
Oh yeah, sorry. I can't believe we literally
I was like, did Cheslin Kolbe bounce Caelan Doris?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
sorry, boys.
But we've already apologized for not having Damien Dalenda there, because I forgot about it, and I was like, yeah, good shout. To be fair, good shout. Would you rather have Jesse Creel or Damien Dalenda there, Brevan? Not you, Brett, because you've obviously got Damien Dalenda.
I think it's got to be Delende, because Delende has been. Jesse came in at the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Damien's been doing it for way longer.
Yeah, but we talking current.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, if you look at their roles in the team, I think Damien Delende has just been, and the way he's transitioned his play from being just the ball carrier to being able to be defensively a unit, and then also still have to be a guy who has to give a good odd behind the back pass or whatever. He's just evolved his game, So I think Delende probably takes it over Creel if you had to choose one.
Jesse Creel had one of his worst games since the French game in the World Cup, the first test in Joburg against the All Blacks. Jesse Creel was terrible.
Yeah. Much better this weekend, though.
Yes.
just got back to his best.
Oh, good old Jess. So, boys, number 3, I'll start. Because obviously you guys went first the last 2 times. I went with Cheslin Kolbe at 3. I wish I could put this guy higher, but there's someone in my number 1 that's I'm going to be very biased with, because I'm a forward. And that just kind of gives it away. But anyway, Cheslin Kolbe, I mean, the guy can do anything. He can throw in lineouts, he can put in scrums, he can bounce locks, he can bounce flanks, he can find a gap when there is no gap. I mean, the guy can do basically anything you want him to do. His kicking is good. Obviously, he missed that drop goal, but I feel like he was rushed in that situation. But I completely think Cheslin is just, if he carries on like this, I honestly think there's a real case for him to win Player of the Year. Like, genuinely, he has been incredible. Like, he's got...
they're going to think we are so biased.
But
they're going to think we are so biased.
When is that award? Is it when does it cut off? Before the November?
October, yeah. It's October.
If he has... Okay, obviously he's not playing now in Argentina, but if he has a stormer against Argentina when they come here, I mean, guys, you cannot say it's being biased for Cheslin Kolbe to win.
The argument will always be just because he's playing in Japan at the moment, right? Like,
no, I mean,
Brevin, we fully agree with you. That's why we're not going to expand on what you just said, because we still have to get to him.
Okay,
spoiler alert, Kolbe's in our list as well. Okay. So just
We'll go to Brett. Actually, no, let's go to Casual first, and then we'll go to Brett. So, Casual.
So this guy was initially in my number 2 spot. I've dropped him down to 3. I don't care if I'm being biased. Antoine Dupont.
Cue the comments, please.
Antoine Dupont is the 3rd best player in the world. He's the third best player in the world, right? Fair enough. I'll give him his flowers and stuff, but I will not have a top 2 player as a guy that's not achieved anything outside of Europe or outside of the Northern Hemisphere. He's played 30 minutes outside of that. I think he's a sensational player. I'm not going to take anything away from him. I've always said Aaron Smith is the better 9, but I think Dupont is the better player in terms of what he can offer at the breakdown, maybe kick off both feet or whatever. But I would rather take Aaron Smith as my 9. I think Dupont is a great player. He's got deceiving gas. He's quite quick. I'm not going to say anything about the 7s because we don't care about that. We've got a million players that have achieved stuff in 7s and done it in World 15s as well. But if you just look at it, the way that he plays in that Toulouse team is obviously he's got a massive impact on that team. He's got a massive impact on that French team. He played brilliantly against us in South Africa as well. And his franchise career kind of just like speaks for itself. So I've got him in there. I feel it would be disrespectful to not have him in there. I do genuinely, he's not a charity, guys. I genuinely do believe he's one of the best in the world. Talent-wise, sensational player. So Dupont, but there is a lot of caveats, which makes, or a massive caveat, that makes him only take that 3rd spot instead of being higher.
Sure. Okay. I like your shouts, Cheslin Kolbe. Obviously, just everything you said is justified. Your shouts is absolute dog shit. I will never agree with that. I cannot believe how the French media has promoted this guy that a South African from flippin' Cape Town will even think that he's the 3rd best in the world. He's probably the best in Europe. I'll give him that. Best in the 6 nations. No, he's not the best in Europe. He's the best in the 6 nations. That I'll give him. But if you can't play outside of Europe, if you can't achieve anything for your national country, for your national team, I don't think you deserve to be even in the top 5. I think a guy like Kurtley Arendse is better than Antoine Dupont.
Have you got Kurtley Arendse?
Sorry?
Have you got Kurtley Arendse?
No, I don't.
Because I saw people giving their shout.
Yeah, no,
Kurtley's a great player. Like
he will be in my top 10, but that's what I'm saying. He's better for me. He adds more to rugby than Antoine Dupont. He's also got he's played for the Blitzboks many times. He's won the World Series with the Blitzboks. I mean, come on. He's also won more World Cups than Antoine Dupont. Antoine Dupont has done nothing for rugby for me. So he will never be in my top 5 until he wins at least a World Cup or comes and plays in South Africa or Australia or New Zealand and then wins a series there. Then I'll give the guy his credit. But I think the French media has hyped this guy up so much that everyone's starting to believe it. It's almost like what happened in 2020. People just started believing random shit because it was told 10,000 times. Anyway, my number 3 is probably the worst shout of everyone, but this player really, really, really excites me. And I think that currently the 2 games that they played against the All Blacks, Carreras, the wing, is a brilliant, brilliant player at this point. And I think that he deserves, because we talk about the now, and currently one of the best wings in the rugby championship. And yeah, he's my number 3.
Yeah, he's sensational, to be fair. Like, he's burst through. When was it? Was it in the World Cup that he burst through?
I think DMAC is still looking for that tackle he's trying to make.
Yeah. No, listen, Mateus Carreras is ridiculous. I think surely he's up there with one of the best steppers that I've seen. Right, like that is crazy good. But can you put him in 3 now? I would have respected it heavily if he was like, let's say 4 or 5. That's because I still think that's very respectful. I just want to continue on the Dupont thing, right? Like Brett, I get completely what you're saying, and I fully agree. It's not like he's playing for a bad team or anything. I mean, if you are the favorites for every 6 nations and you are the favorites for a home World Cup as well, and you never tour outside of it, that's why I couldn't have him in the top 2 or 3, right? But if you just like see how he plays a sensational game. Like, I think he is a sensational player, and I just purely just how good he is off talent wise, I feel like he needs to be in that upper echelon of people in the top 5. Not necessarily off the team accomplishments. If he has achieved team accomplishments that outside of just Europe. Because if we play every game at Loftus Versfeld, best believe we're going home with a 100% record. Like that is. Yeah. But just like purely off eyesight, I was like, okay, Dupont, talent-wise, sensational. He deserves to be in that top 5. But I do like the Guerrero shot. I just maybe feel like that's a bit pushing it in terms of ranking. But obviously, that's opinion. I like it, to be fair. I like these wild shots.
Oh, well, it's time for my slander from the OG. I have Dupont at number 2. And I'll explain why, right? Obviously, I completely hear what you're saying with regards to he hasn't won a World Cup or he hasn't been to the Southern Hemisphere or he's played 30 minutes or so in the Southern Hemisphere. And that's all valid. And I think that definitely should be considered when people call him the GOAT, if that makes sense. Like
that discussion is not even close.
That is ridiculous. Like, that is ridiculous. But if I look at Antoine Dupont as a player, right, it's a 9 for me who is able to kick off either foot and do it very well. He's able to obviously steal balls like a flanker. He's able to make good hits as a 9. He's able to carry well as a 9. His vision is good. His playmaking is good. His support play is good. I mean, or when I say good, I mean like it's really, really phenomenal. So I just think he is a phenomenal rugby player, and I'm going to appreciate the talent that he is. And yes, I do agree. He has to probably win a World Cup, and he probably has to come here and win a series in New Zealand or South Africa to really cement himself among the greats, because he has the potential to be there. I firmly believe that. And people can say, well, then he should be number 1. But I just think that there's a bit more to do. And like I said, he's a phenomenal rugby player. But I just think there are others out there that are doing their job. So Dupont has a job, right, that he does very, very well. But then other players have a job that they do very, very well. And they are doing it while achieving World Cup glory, and that type of thing. So that's why I have Dupont at 2. So yeah.
Brett, do you want to go before I dismantle Brevan?
Yeah, let me go quickly. I just want to actually, seeing that we've just come out of the US presidential debates, I'd like to respond to what he said first before I give my opinion. So also another thing on Dupont, yes, I'm going to rant on about him again, is if I look at a player like Aaron Smith for me has a better pass than Dupont. So I'm going on 9s only. Aaron Smith has a better pass than Dupont. Conor Murray and Jamison Gibson Park both, for me, have better box kicks than Dupont. A guy like, what's his name? Flipping out. Anyway, I'm just saying these Oaks have better attributes at that. So yes, I give Dupont in broken play. He's very good. Like if you give him a bit of space, he'll punish you. There, I'll give him credit. But then again,
he's a better sniper than him.
Yeah, but then again, and Grant Williams is faster than him. But then again, if you're gonna play at the same 6 fields every single weekend for most of the year, you're gonna be very, very good. If you're obviously already a good player, you're gonna be a very good player at those fields. And I just can't give a man credit that does the same stuff week in and week out at the same places. I can't. I struggle with it so much.
Brett, before you give your number 2 shout, right? My issue with Brevan putting Dupont at 2, right? I had him at 2 in my TikTok, right? But I dropped him down. But I keep the guy that's above him. Like Cheslin Kolbe. By the way, that's my number 2. Cheslin Kolbe is so much better for me than Antoine Dupont, right? Because when you look at Dupont, there's clear stuff that he still needs to do to get to number 1, right? What does Cheslin Kolbe still need to achieve to get to number 1? He throws him at the lineouts, he throws him at the scrums, he's got gas, he bumps guys 4 times bigger than him, he's got an insane step, he's faster, he kicks the ball, he goes for drop goals, he's a creative playmaker, he doesn't miss tackles, nothing like that. And he's achieved everything that he possibly can. Rugby Championship, Rugby World Cup, Freedom Cup for the first time in how many years, right? British and Irish Lions tour in 39 games. That is sensational. So my issue isn't that Brevin has him at 2. My issue is that how is he above Cheslin Kolbe? Like attributes wise and stuff. And by the way, Dupont touches the ball every single phase. People talk about Kolbe being a nightmare. He gets the ball at least probably like 3 times a game from the wing, and he is sensational. He destroys you. We talk about Dupont playing in the best team, and people are like, "Oh, well, it's a 15-man game. He should. How should he have dragged France over the line?" Yeah, well, Kolbe dragged us over the line from a kick that they had to goal by charging it down. He won us the game against Ireland, right, by chasing a kick to the line out. Like, the guy is absolutely sensational, and therefore, I can never put Dupont above Cheslin Kolbe in terms of what they offer to any form of rugby. So, Brevan, I would have loved a Dupont shout-out to you if you had Kolbe at 1. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Okay, well, my number 2 is I struggled with 1 or 2. 1 or 2 for me, same WhatsApp group. The difference between them is not a lot, but I went for him as my number 2 because he's a forward, and my heart or my gut sticks with a back line player because I'm one. So my number 2 is, he's had 3 man of the matches already this season, of just this rugby championship. Pieter-Steph du Toit, which I think is probably going to go on to win World Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
I think so. I'd like for my number 1 to be that person, but I think Pieter-Steph du Toit is just, he's not even in the same universe as everybody currently. I think.
Yeah. And he's probably both of our number 1s, right, Brevan?
Yeah. I mean, just to get to that point, Pieter-Steph du Toit is my best player in the world currently. If you look at a guy, right, that has the same impact from minute 1 to minute 80, and he's a forward, and he weighs over 115 kilos, and he's carrying himself game after game after game, 80 minute after 80 minute, doing the same thing. I mean, if you think about it, World Cup final, man of the match. I mean, absolutely insane performance. Probably the greatest defensive performance I've ever seen in any game. Obviously, you can put guy from France in 2000 and I sound like a casual, but it's Dutoit. Yes. Obviously, you can put that performance up there, but then win the game. So that's why I say Pieter-Steph du Toit. He won man of the match there. Then you bring him. He was phenomenal in the Irish test, and then he wins man of the match in both Aussie tests and one in a New Zealand test, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
in a row.
He is unreal. Like,
and he won one in the Irish test as well, did he?
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, for
Yeah.
goodness sake! I mean,
okay, Brevan is cut out. I can't hear Brevan at all.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Yeah, Brevan is frozen. Brevan is frozen completely.
not bad. Sorry, I was like the second phrase. I'm like, no, I have to start again. No, I'm kidding. But it's just crazy what he does. And it's not like he just does a defensive shift, because you see the guy carrying it up and gaining meters, hard carries, or he finds the space, makes the offload. I mean, we've seen Pieter-Steph du Toit give chip and chases, for goodness sake. Like, the guy's just incredible. Like, obviously, I'm a forward. That's why I'd probably have him at number 1, because I just don't think a forward should be doing what he does. It's just incredible. So, Pieter-Steph.
Brevan, I fully agree with you. That's why I'm going with Pieter-Steph also at 1. And the only thing that kind of makes him pip Cheslin Kolbe for me in that number 1 spot is the fact that they play for the same team, and Pieter-Steph gets the man of the matches, right? And we kind of know South Africa, we focus on dominance, physically smashing them in defense, and he's leading the team in that, right? Like, without Pieter-Steph, and obviously we've got a lock crisis. It doesn't feel like we have a lock crisis when Pieter-Steph just moves to lock. It feels like he's been playing lock for years, right? We haven't even thought about our lock crisis. 6 lock injuries. Pieter-Steph goes in there and plays like it's absolutely nothing, like it's the easiest position to play in the world. So I fully agree. I fully get that Brett's probably going Chesy at at the number 1 spot, and he can explain why Cheslin, Pips, Peter, Steph. But I agree with you, Brett, that they are the same WhatsApp group. Mine is purely based around what I just mentioned, that he leads the team in what we mostly focus on, and that he's got that accolades of man of the match performances in all those big games that we played. Like, massive guy for us. Brett, take us away with Cheslin.
Yeah, so obviously everyone knows I'm going to go with Cheslin. I made a whole video about it about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, actually. Well, when the Olympics was still on us, I already made this video that Cheslin Kolbe is the best player in the world. Reason for me with Cheslin Kolbe is every single team he goes to, they win that year's final. Like, his first time went to Santori, Sun Goliath, or whatever his Japanese side is. They fought for relegation the previous year. They won the final when he was there. He's the highest paid rugby player in the world. I'm not sure about salary-wise, but he's the highest paid player when you count endorsements and everything else like that.
He was the highest paid rugby player as well in terms of salary as well at one point.
Yes, he was, but that's why I'm not sure right now as we speak. But I do know his endorsement makes him the, shall we say, the richest rugby player in the world. He's also, I go on, yes, it's a team sport, but the accolades that he's got with every single team that he plays in. I mean, when he played sevens, the Blitzboks were 6th or 7th ranked in the world that year. That his last year at the sevens, they won the world title, and it's just stuff like that. That just everywhere Cheslin Kolbe goes, things turn to gold. I mean, that tries 2019 final. It's just, I don't know. This oak is just on a whole other planet.
But you know what it is as well? The guy does things that a wing of 80 kilograms, and obviously I'm not sure the exact centimeters, but he's not tall at all. The things he does for that size should not be done. Like, to bounce Scott Barrett is just... I haven't even seen Eben or those type of players do that. Obviously, Artie can't bounce, because they obviously play in the same team. Obviously, there's Super Rugby as well, whatever, but he's not there. But what I'm trying to say is, it's just Cheslin does things that a wing like that, with that body shape and that weight, etc., just shouldn't do. And, like, obviously, we saw Cheslin charge down that kick in the World Cup, and it's like, will you ever see that again? With what I mean by that is, in those circumstances, like, that kick had to be charged down. Like, we know Ramos is a very accurate kicker, and that kick would have won them the game if that had gone over. So he just does things to win games. So it's not a bad shout. It's a fantastic shout. I have him at 3, and yes, it seems criminal, but my top 3, I think, is just...
You know what's like an amazing thing of Kolbe? Obviously, he plays on the wing, right? But I can't like, obviously, there's games that a wing can be quiet, right? If we don't get the ball wide, where's Cheslin gonna really get involved in terms of the attack? We all know how good he is defensively. 95% defensive tackle rate, tackle rate. Brett, I think you gave me that stat earlier. Like, it is ridiculous, but I've never seen Kolbe have a bad game. Like, I've never watched the game and I was like, oh, Kolbe's not been at the races today. I've maybe said, okay, he's been a bit quiet because the ball hasn't gone here or there. But every time he gets the ball, he looks like he's going to do something dangerous, right? Just the threat of having Kolbe on the field is something crazy. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't even think you guys are going to disagree. I think Kolbe is the most talented player that has ever stepped a foot on a rugby field. Like, I know we have sensational rugby players, might be better rugby players career-wise and stuff. But if you look at everything that Kolbe can do, maybe he can't kick like Dupont of his weak foot and put it wherever he wants to. But everything else, Kolbe can literally slot into any position in the back line and still flourish there. I'm convinced of it. And he's actually proved it by playing literally every single position.
Yes. Like, people also need to remember that, or realize that Ramos has a very short run-up, and he got charged down from the corner. That on its own is like, it's mind-boggling. But also what people don't understand is that he was going to play. He was the backup scrum half in the World Cup final. He played for Toulon. He played at 10 for so many games. Watch the highlights reel of him as a fly-off. Like, yes, I'm a fly-off, so I'm a bit biased. I think fly-off is a very difficult position to play. Like, you have to have bloody ice in your veins, and you have to be cool, calm, and collected, and try and run a rugby game. I mean, and he did that. Everything that he's done, I don't think. Like I said to you in your live video just now, that if Cheslin Kolbe goes to 9, he'll be great. Like, if he plays against DuPont, he'll be great. If you take DuPont and put him on the wing, he'll be nowhere. That's why I put Kolbe over DuPont all day of the week.
Yeah, I fully agree with Kolbe over DuPont. And I'm like, one thing that's kind of underrated is, like, remember in the 2000, I know we're saying currently, but 2019 World Cup semi-final, Kolbe didn't play against Wales because he had an ankle injury. Plays the final against England, steps off that sore ankle, steps Farrell into another universe, wins us the Rugby World Cup. I mean, big game player. Literally scored the try that won us the British and Irish Lions tour as well. It's not a discussion. I might just switch Kolbe back to number 1. That's what I had him in my TikTok live. In my TikTok. But anyway, Brevin, wrap it up. We've done enough damage. Well, this was Safa's bias unscripted.
Yeah, well, look, I think that was a very mature, respectable conversation. Didn't get out of hand too much. But yeah, obviously, we want to hear your guys' top 5 as well. And yes, we do fully expect a lot of slander for not putting DuPont at 1. But I think we make very valid points as to why he's not number 1. So yeah, obviously it's an opinion-based thing. We're not going to tell you you're an idiot if you put him at 1. So put whoever you want in your top 5. Let us know who it is. And wait, before I say goodbye, Brett had something to say quickly.
No, I said I will.
Okay, he will. But he's a friendly guy, I promise. But yeah, that's it for today. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and we will see you. This is obviously Friday's episode, so we'll see you next week for test week against Argentina. So we'll start building up to that. So yeah, cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.